A lot of real estate agents think that YouTube just isn't working anymore. I don't believe that. But I do believe that generic YouTube content is what's not working anymore. A lot of agents are still creating broad, generic videos and wondering why their channel isn't getting any traction. What's working right now is content that's more specific, local, and more strategically framed and intentional regarding how you're positioning this content. And this really matters because this is what's separating agents who aren't getting any views at all, or agents who are maybe getting some views but not converting into leads, versus those who are building channels that are compounding into a thriving real estate business. Right now, the gap is not about who's posting more. It's about who's posting the right kind of content. If you've ever looked at another real estate channel and wondered, why is their content working and mine isn't? Then this video is for you. Today, I want to break down the biggest shifts happening right now and what it means if you want your YouTube channel to start generating real leads instead of just taking up your time. By the way, I'm Sarah Newman. I'm a real estate agent and team leader here in the Charleston, South Carolina area. And my mission on this channel is to help you create an enjoyable and sustainable real estate business, wherever in the world you are, all without burning out. YouTube has been one of the keys to my personal success, and I love sharing my insights and tips with you so that you can find your stride and success as well. All right, so let's get into today's content. All right, so the biggest shift and first major pattern is that niche content is beating broad content. And truly, this is one of the most important takeaways for agents. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that if they want more views, that they need to create broader content that appeals to more people. But what we're seeing is that channels focused on a very specific audience segment are actually outperforming broad real estate channels when it comes to conversion. So not just views, not just reach, not just subscribers, but actual leads, actual conversations, actual closings. That means that if your content is clearly geared towards a specific type of client, maybe relocation buyers, luxury buyers, retirees, first-time home buyers, new construction, sellers, all of this can specifically work in your favor. Because when someone feels like, oh, this video is for me, they're much more likely not just to watch it, but to trust you and then reach out. And this seems to be where a lot of agents are going wrong. They make content that is technically about real estate, but it's really too broad to land with anyone in a meaningful way. So for example, if you're making a video telling people how to go get pre-approved with a mortgage lender and posting that to YouTube, just stop it. Stop it right now. Honestly, nobody cares. And also, that's the mortgage lender's job, is to get into the nitty-gritty details of that process. But most importantly, that topic isn't interesting or something engaging that your audience is curious about. So one of the first questions to ask yourself right now is, who is my channel actually for? Not who could watch this, not who do I hope stumbles upon this, but who is this content intentionally built for? Because right now, niche is winning. And this next point builds right on top of this. And I think it's, again, another clear distinction that agents need to understand. Your broad videos are intended to drive discovery and views, but it's those niche local videos that are actually generating real leads and clients and therefore closings. And this is such an important distinction, because sometimes agents get discouraged when one type of content is perhaps driving some views on their channel more than others, but that's really not the whole story. So a broad video about living in your city might get some impressions, or some kind of flashy topic might bring people into your world. But the videos that actually move people into action are the ones that are more specific, more local, and actually tied to a decision that the viewer is trying to make. That's why content around specific neighborhoods, specific concerns, specific community types, And specific headlines or local changes can be so powerful because people just don't go to YouTube to be entertained. A lot of them are going there to reduce their uncertainty and to make decisions. They're trying to answer questions like, where should I live? What should I avoid? Is this area changing? Are prices about to move? Is this community a good fit for me? What's the catch here? What do locals know that outsiders don't? And when your videos answer those questions clearly, you stop being just another real estate agent with a channel and you start becoming a trusted local guide. Now, I went into lots of examples in detail about how to do this in the last video I posted called What Content is Working Now for Real Estate Agents on YouTube. So definitely check that out next because I do give tons of examples of different niches and video content buckets that you can use. And yes, I'm using the word niche and niche interchangeably. I don't really have a preference, so we're just gonna see which one comes out of my mouth as I continue to use that word a lot. And by the way, if you need more guidance, I have a freebie that I created for you. If your YouTube channel is not producing consistent leads, you need to start fixing the right things and stop guessing. So in my YouTube channel Reset, your 30-day makeover plan, I'll share why your channel isn't working based on 3 foundational principles where most agents are making mistakes, plus exactly what to do to fix them. This is a workbook where you will walk away with an action plan to turn your existing channel into a real lead generation asset without starting over. Or if you don't have a channel yet, then this workbook is going to help you know where to get started from day one so that you don't waste time on the wrong content. Go to agentselevated.co/reset to get your free workbook today. And the link's also in the description below. Now, another thing we're seeing right now is that a good video is now baseline, but polish is no longer your edge. Okay, what does that mean? So decent quality matters. Yes, absolutely. Clear audio matters 100%. A catchy thumbnail and title matter for sure. But in the past, we saw agents with these big budgets and these super polished videos that were really beating out the competition. But simply being polished is not your competitive edge anymore. What's standing out now is perspective, clarity, strong positioning, local credibility, and actual substance. So in other words, character and perspective are beating budget and polish. And I think this is actually great news for a lot of agents because you do not need to build some giant media company just to be able to compete on YouTube. Like I said, yes, people want a nice looking video. They need to be able to clearly hear you, but they also want it to be relatable. So while you don't need the most cinematic B-roll or the most expensive setup or equipment or to look like some professional YouTuber, what you do need to do is say something that matters. You need to help people understand a market, an area, a trend, or a decision in a way that feels specific and grounded and useful. That's what people are responding to. Audiences are getting better and better at sensing what content is empty, generic, or algorithm chasing. So the goal is not to be louder. The goal is to be more relevant. All right, now this next point is one that I really want agents to hear loud and clear, especially if you're feeling discouraged right now. YouTube is not just about posting the next video. It's about creating a library. And one of the strongest patterns showing up right now is that channels with 12 or more months of content are often generating leads without even posting new videos constantly. That means their content library is continuing to work for them. And that's huge because so many agents treat YouTube like each video has to hit immediately, or that you have to post 3 times a week, or otherwise they assume it's not working. But what we're seeing is that for many channels, the first 6 months are really just building the foundation. Then around months 6 to 9, there's often an inflection point where the leads start accelerating. And then months 7 through 12 are often where the returns start to show up more clearly. This is such an important mindset shift because it means your early videos are not wasted. That effort is not wasted. You have to think about it like you're building an asset. And the longer you build, the harder that library compounds. Now, I do have another video on the channel all about the reasons why YouTube is the best lead gen ever, and this is something I talk about in that video, and all of the ways that you can use this content library. So if you haven't seen that video, be sure to check that one out later. But on this point, I want you to think about this shift. So instead of asking, why didn't this one video change my business? I thought everyone was interested in this topic and that it was really going to take off, and then feeling all discouraged about it. A better question is, am I building a library that will compound over the next 12 months? That's how you need to think about it if you want YouTube to become a real lead source. Okay, so I do want to briefly touch on hooks and titles in this video, because when you look at the title patterns that are working right now, it tells us a lot. So some of the strongest titles we're seeing right now are things like why these types of homes aren't selling, but others are, or avoid moving to the wrong area in your city, or something abnormal just happened in your city's housing market, or 5 major projects that will change your city forever, or the brutal reality of living in your area right now, or I've lived in this area for X amount of years, here are my honest thoughts. So what do all of these have in common? They usually combine at least 1 or 2 of these elements: curiosity, urgency, local relevance, protection, honesty, identity, and consequences. And this is where it seems a lot of agents need to level up, because having good information stuffed inside your video just isn't enough. It could be the best video, the most well-made video with tons of great information, but it's all about the packaging. The best video could get ignored if the packaging is off. So the idea has to feel important or intriguing, the framing has to feel relevant, and the title has to make someone feel like, I need to know this. Again, I went into very specific title ideas and gave video content recommendations in my last video that I posted last week. So be sure to check that one out next for more concrete information on this with lots of examples that you can use. Let me wrap this all up by sharing with you what I would do right now if I was either a real estate agent starting a channel right now, or if I was trying to fix a channel that wasn't converting. First, I would get a lot more specific about what the channel is for. Second, I would build content around a few proven buckets. Things like local change and development, housing shifts and what's happening right now, neighborhood and suburb decisions, cautionary or protective content, honest opinion and local perspective, and niche buyer segments like relocation, retirement, luxury, or first-time buyers. Third, I would stop worrying about making every single video feel broad and universally appealing, because that broad content might get you attention, but remember, it's the specific content that builds trust. So niche down and focus on specificity. And finally, I would commit to building a real library, not just posting random videos when inspiration hits. Because what's working right now is not randomly throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. It's strategic consistency. So to sum up all the points that we went over today about what's working on YouTube right now for real estate agents, it's niche content over broad content, local specificity over generic advice, strong hooks over bland titles, authentic perspective over empty polish, and library building over short-term impatience. And to me, this is actually really encouraging, because it means that you don't have to do everything and cover everything. You just have to do the right things more intentionally. So if you're a real estate agent and you want your YouTube channel to generate real leads and not just views, these are the shifts that I would focus on. Because the goal is not just to grow a channel, the goal is to grow a channel that builds your business. And if this video was helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so that you can continue to learn more tips of the trade. And let me know in the comments what kind of channel you have or what niche you're trying to serve. And finally, if you're looking for new opportunities or are considering moving brokerages, or just simply curious about eXp Realty or eXp Commercial and how it works, I offer a confidential, no pressure call to talk through the opportunity and see if it's a fit for you. You can book a call on my calendar in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.